If there is a message for us today, I believe it is to learn to live from our heart in love. These short lessons, hopefully, will help to inspire you to live with purpose, love passionately, and inspire others. We are the change agent our world needs. I'm Helen Toews. Step into the river today with me to explore the mysteries of God. They are not hidden from us, but for us to discover.
To this computer. All right. We're just going to start, and as people come on, because it's starting time. But we're, you know what, I feel like having Miles on last week, and then having Laura C on. I've missed the gallery. I've missed seeing everybody's faces and just the interaction. But have been out. It's been an outstanding blessing to have those two. They both of them sort of rock your world, don't they? And let you in to their lives. And that sound bath. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, I might sound a little gravelly because I am, sadly, but this is what happened this morning. Actually, I had a terrible night's sleep. I had another shampoo, and I think I reacted to it. So my whole skull was feeling like there was needles all night going. It was terrible. So, it wasn't top form. Got up at 7:30 with this voice, only worse. And as I'm sitting there, and I'm completely prepared for tonight, or as prepared as you can be. And doesn't my friend Margie Negri text me? And I go, wow. And we get talking as we do. We never talk about the weather. We dive into wherever we are, which is my kind of chat. And she mentioned that she has this. What is it? What did you call it, Margie? A form of some kind.
A worksheet, like
Oh,
a handout.
A handout. I loved it. And it's about getting rid of limiting beliefs and create evidence for the opposite. I just loved everything that said. And the reason is there's been so many of us, right, have had challenges, and you realize that if there are limiting beliefs, they need to be recognized. And I love that you said, create the evidence for the opposite. So we negotiated this morning at 7:30 my time and said, Margie, I don't know if I have a voice to do this. Can we come together and you make a presentation on that premise, on that worksheet, and then we're going to take it from there. Not 100% sure. I have a whole bunch of stuff. If we run out of interesting things to say, I got stuff that we can get challenged by, and if not, it'll go next week. But Margie, I'm totally grateful, just so grateful for you. I'm going to pin us in conversation style so that we can start this way. My apologies for being. I just call myself. It's like being Gravel Gertie, from the Beverly Hillbillies or whoever she was. Anyway, it's terrible. But Margie, I so appreciate you coming alongside and willing to jump in. And just so that you all know, as people keep coming on, there'll be at some place we're going to come back into the gallery, because what really we've been enjoying a lot here on the river is hearing from you. So if there's questions, if there's comments, if there's any, woo, this happened to me, we're really hoping that you will will jump in with us. And so, Margie, I don't know that, does everybody know that Margie is an exceptional uh, counselor, and that is actually her full-time job, which is why I can't get a hold of her when I need to get counseling, because she's busy with real people. And I do appreciate you so much, Margie, because you're you it's not, when I talk to you about things, you don't talk like a counselor. You talk no, you talk like a friend. You speak about things, not just to things. And it feels very comfortable and a very, very safe place. And that's the environment that you create. So I'm going to rest my voice, and I'm just going to say over to you. And guys, write down Kathy Boschman, as you know, is our co-host. And if there's anything in the chat that you would like her to bring up along the way, we don't want to miss anybody. So we've got all the places covered here. Anyway, so bless you, Margie.
Thank you. I just so appreciate Helen and all of you. I really do. I learned so much, and I wish I could be here every Wednesday, but it's just so hard because I do work some nights and I have a husband and he just wants to hang out too. So when we were talking this morning, we were talking, and I was just like, I do have this new thing, because I realized that for all of us, in order to become who we want to be and who we are capable of being, and to walk in our I amness, we often I don't know, we keep searching, right, rather than actually applying. And I think that this is a group of applicators, really, like we actually put into practice what we're doing. But it doesn't hurt to have handouts or little things that kind of help you. So so the main one that I've been using lately, and really I'm giving it to everybody because I really do believe that the limiting beliefs that we hold, the things that maybe they started in childhood, maybe they started later, maybe it's just been something you've been telling yourself forever. Say some adult had told you you were a loser or something as a child, or you'd never amount to anything, or maybe it doesn't even have to be as extreme as that. You feel like you're ugly, or fat, or you can't this, or you can't that. Any of those things, once we have an impact, it's like we look for proof of it, right? Like, say we've been rejected, or you're always going to be rejected. Like, we back it up with substantiating evidence. So most of the core beliefs that we carry, the things that are deep in our heart and part of who we are, they've truly been substantiated for years and years and years, most of us, right? They've been around forever. And they're very hard to just get rid of. Like, we don't just eliminate them. We have to kind of do some things. Like, and I'm sure all of you know that, like, maybe you're better at capturing those thoughts, right? That you hear it now, whereas maybe in the past you didn't. You just would let it fly, or you don't recognize when you're talking to yourself in a certain way. So I do have another exercise that it's like a 3 days for neural reconstruction, but I haven't really developed that one quite as well as this limiting belief, but it's similar. And the thing is, what you tell yourself, you really do become. And we all know this, right? When you say it again and again and again, it becomes part of your hard wiring. It's who you are. It's your neural makeup. And so the limiting beliefs worksheet, it's like 3 columns, right? And I will send this to Helen so she can send it to everybody. But the first column, you would write down a limiting belief. Now, you won't just do this once. You're going to do this for all the limiting beliefs that your heart reminds you about, right? Because God will wait until you're ready, right, to bring something up that is standing in the way of you becoming everything that you can, right? You already are, but you don't, but we have these things that are stopping it, right? So you're going to ask God to help you. You're going to think about it. So the first column says you write out those beliefs you hold that keep you stuck or not advancing in an area that you know you should be, right? So you're going to question yourself. Why am I stuck here? Why haven't I improved in this area? Why do I keep coming back to this? And that's going to be in the column 1. Okay. The second column is the opposite truth. You're going to write here the opposite and more powerful truth about who you are in God that is just as or even more true. It's probably more true, right? So maybe you like to back things up with scripture. Maybe you like to, you know what it should be. Like if your parents had told you you were a loser, you know that you matter, right? Deep down inside, your heart knows you have worth and value, but it's up against this belief that's been substantiated for so long, right? So you're going to write down, and the reason that I use worksheets, and I tell people this all the time, is because when you have a worksheet and you actually work it, that hand-to-eye coordination is really important, right? Like I think we talked about this here one time about like how they're seeing with students that they really need to write things down, right? All this typing that we're doing, it's just not the same as it is when we write them. And I'm just so grateful that I grew up when you had to write everything. So I'm just a note taker everywhere I go. Like I just take notes, and it does reinforce what I'm learning, and it makes it solidified in my brain. So the worksheet is important because when you bother to write stuff down, you make the change. Okay. So the first column is the limiting belief. The second is the opposite truth. And you know when you'll know what it is. And then for the third one, you're going to look for examples from life to prove the opposite truth. So with your limiting belief, you have like a trench that's built in your head. It's like well worn, it's been reinforced, it's been substantiated. You have this trench and you believe it. You believe it deep down inside, it's inside of you. So now how you're going to undo that is this opposite truth. You're going to look for examples. You're going to expect to see, when you get a new car, it doesn't have to be a brand new car, but it's a car that you didn't have before. All of a sudden, everybody has that car, right? So when you start to want to see something, you will see it. And every day you're going to write down the substantiating evidence. So you look for examples from your life that validate the powerful truth in column 2. The more you expect to see, the more you will, right? Because where you put your energy, your attention, where you put your attention, your energy goes. Wake up every day expecting to see substantiating evidence that will prove you are all God says you are. And then the things that get in the way of this are like, say something comes up and maybe mom did say that to you, right? So you have to kind of go back and heal that, like through forgiveness. You have to walk through the process of forgiveness. So those are the obstacles to this actually being a worksheet that will work for you, right? So when you're up against it and you're like, why isn't this going away? Then you say, heart, I believe in the heart coherence thing big time. You ask your heart, what is in the way? What are you feeling? Who do you need to forgive? I ask God, who do I need to forgive? And you get rid of the obstacle because you've dealt with it. And it says, I learned this from Dave Bayer. I don't know if you guys listen to him, but he has a lot of really great stuff. He's not Christian, but he is leaning into the whole God thing because of the 12 steps. So he said that as we grow in forgiveness, we can view the experience more intelligently. Right. Sometimes to the point that we can be grateful for the experience as it made us who we are. Right now, most of us can look back over our lives and maybe years ago, you wished you were somebody else. You wish you had something else. But then now you can say, you know what? I am who I am because of what I've been through, good, bad, all of it. Right. So you can find those places in your life where you can stop and you can say, this actually helped me become, right, who I am today. The other thing is the programming that comes from your parents. Like if your mother had an issue with something and your dad had an issue with something, you kind of get their issues mixed up in your issues, right? So you kind of have to recognize these things and surrender them. Be like, mom always did this, mom did, like one of the things that I feel like God is really kind of emotional neglect. Like it's a thing that a lot of people have dealt with from one of their parents. And then they might not know. When you have a parent that has come from emotional neglect, they parent with emotional neglect, and then you might parent with emotional neglect as well, right? It's not your intention. You're trying to be the best person that you can, but there's opportunities for these things to just happen, right? So you have to kind of recognize that this is an ongoing thing. These are happening too, right? And you have to be able to surrender them to God, and he can heal them with you. And then the final thing that I got from David Bayer on this is that your self-esteem needs to stop being outsourced, right? Like a thing that gets in the way of your belief system is when you require constant approval from others. And I'm a temperament therapist, so a lot of temperaments lend itself to wanting love, affection, and approval, right? But when you know who you are and you worked on your identity and you're standing in your I amness, you can have a little chat with yourself when you're realizing that you're outsourcing your self-esteem. And the more you do that, the better you get at it, the more practiced you become, right? It's like anything. So that was the thing we had talked about this morning, Helen. And then the other thing, it's kind of like I haven't really done it myself completely. I kind of started and then needed a little more clarity. So I'm just gonna explain it a little bit. It's 3 days of neural reconstruction. And this actually comes from Joe Dispenza's information that I had gotten. And his whole point is that everything you've become, everything you are, and everything you'll ever be comes down to one thing: the conversation you're having with yourself right now, that voice inside your head, the one that's been telling you what you can and can't do for your entire life. So in order to deal with that part of you, you have to believe in transformation. You have to recognize that these things need, like those neural pathways, they're real. Like it's not a small thing. Like we need to look at changing our neurology, right? And changing our brain. So every single thought you think creates a biochemical reaction in your body. Did you know that? I didn't know that. I didn't know it creates an actual complete thing in my whole body, right? Every single word I say, it says it either fires and wires neural networks of positivity or negativity towards yourself, right? When you wake up each morning and you tell yourself, I'm not good enough, or I can't do this or that, you're programming your neural circuitry to create that exact reality. So here's what's fascinating. He says about your brain. Your brain can't tell the difference between what's happening in your environment and what you're thinking about. That's why when you change your thoughts, you literally change your brain structure. And this isn't philosophy. This is pure neuroscience. Right. Your thoughts are that powerful. I'm going to share it. Well, and I'm reading what he had kind of written, and I kind of typed it out, but I want to kind of just back up why this is so important. Your self-talk is either elevating you or holding you back. And I mean, we all have things in our mind. We know what we say to ourselves, right? Why is that okay? Right? Yeah. We have to get to a point where we're like, I'm putting a moratorium on being mean to myself, right? And I know for myself, that's what I had to do, because I really didn't like who I was for years, right? And then it was like, well, wait a minute. If I don't like me, why should anybody like me? And if I don't love me, how am I going to love others? So you have to grow in love for yourself, and you have to change your chemistry. So what did he say? I just want to read some of the statistics. Every day you think the same thoughts, and these aren't random thoughts. They're a program running automatically, shaping your entire reality. Here's what's really going on in your brain. About 60,000 to 70,000 thoughts every single day. But here's the shocking part. 90 of those thoughts are exactly the same as the ones you had. 90% of those are the same thoughts you had yesterday and the day before and the day before that. So you're literally thinking yourself into the same life day after day through this automatic minute. Your negative self-talk isn't just words in your head when you tell yourself, they're not just words in your head. They're literally things that you're creating in your life. Yeah. And we all know that we are that powerful, right? And maybe we don't know it, but we know it, right? We know that what you think and what you say is a powerful thing, and you're going to get a byproduct from that. So you have to start getting diligent. Like, I think Helen and I always talk about, like, we need practicality. We need to know what we're doing is actually going to make the difference. And this is in this place what you guys are all sharing all the time. It's all, you're seeing the difference. So these are the tools and the different steps that we can take to make sure that that's happening. So what he suggests you do for the 3 days of neural reconstruction is challenge and revolutionize your life in just 3 days. So that's all it takes to rewire your brain. Now, I know it's taken me many years of rewiring. So I am going to diligently put this into practice because I want to break the addiction that I have to negativity in any form, right? So it all starts with rewiring your brain. It won't be ordinary days. These will be days of conscious, deliberate self-talk that will shake the very foundation of your reality. So number one is in the morning. The moment you open your eyes, he means the very moment you open your eyes, before you check your phone, before you think about your problems, before you do anything else, you're going to place your hand on your heart, the heart-brain coherence technique. This physical gesture tells your body it's time for something new. In this state between sleep and wakefulness, your brain is most receptive to new programming. For the first 20 minutes of your day, you're going to speak to yourself with intentional, powerful words, not just in your head, but in a whisper or a soft voice. And this is what you're going to say. Today is the day I break free from my past. Today, my new life begins, and every cell in my body is awakening to a new possibility. Feel the words, let them sink into every cell of your body during these morning sessions. You must maintain absolute focus. If your mind wanders to your problems or your to-do list, gently bring it back. This isn't meditation. This is active brain programming. You're laying down new neural pathways. You're creating new patterns in your neural circuitry. All right. And then 2, the afternoon reinforcement. This will be between 2 and 4 p.m. Your brain goes through another receptive period. This is your second window of opportunity. Find a quiet place, your car, an empty office, even a bathroom stall if you have to. Take 5 minutes to reconstruct with your morning declarations. So you're going to reconnect with them. So you're going to say them again. I'd write them on a little piece of paper. I would take it with me. So you're going to say, today is the day I break free from my past. Today, my new life begins, and every cell in my body is awakening to a new possibility. Take 5 minutes to say that, right? And then this is the crucial part. During these afternoon sessions, you're going to add physical movement as you speak to yourself. You're going to walk with purpose. You're going to move your arms with intention. Your body needs to feel these words. Remember, you're not just changing your thoughts, you're changing your entire state of being. All right, so that's the second time during the day between 2 and 4. But throughout the day, you need to catch your automatic negative self-talk. The moment you hear yourself say, I can't, or this is too hard, stop immediately. Replace those words with I am capable, or I find solutions easily. Don't let a single negative thought slip by unchallenged. Every thought matters and every word counts. Okay? Are we still good? Did you need to ask anything, Helen? We're good? Okay. Okay. All right. So now number 3, the evening protocol is where the magic of the consolidation happens. Between 7 and 9 p.m., your brain naturally begins to process the day's experiences. This is when you review and reinforce all that you're doing. You sit quietly for 15 minutes. Place your hand on your heart again. Review your day's victories, no matter how small, and speak to yourself with gratitude and anticipation. Tell yourself, today I created new neural pathways. Today, I stepped closer to my new reality. Tomorrow will bring even greater transformation. Feel the truth of these words in your body. Let the emotion build. This emotional state is crucial for neural consolidation. And that's just a piece that you have to start incorporating into your progress, is your emotions, your feelings. Allow yourself to feel how good this is and how great you are and how amazing you are to get through this. So the reason the timing is so crucial or critical is that your brain operates on natural cycles of peak receptivity. By aligning your self-talk practice with these windows, you're maximizing the impact of every word you speak to yourself. You're working with your brain's natural rhythm instead of against it. During these 3 days, you must maintain what Joe Dispenza calls state management. This means being constantly aware of your emotional state. If you feel yourself slipping into old patterns, use your breath and take 3 deep breaths and remind yourself, I am in the process of transformation. Every moment is an opportunity to reinforce my new reality. Keep a small notebook with you. Every time you catch yourself in negative self-talk, write it down. Then write down its replacement, which is kind of like the column thing, right? You're going to look for opportunities. Record your transformation because you're making the invisible visible. Each night before you sleep, review your notes. Speak the new empowering statements one last time. Let them be the last thoughts in your mind as you drift off to sleep. Your subconscious mind will work with these thoughts all night long. Remember, these 3 days are not about perfection. They're
Right.
about direction. You might slip back into old patterns of thinking. That's normal. The key is to catch yourself faster each time and redirect your self-talk immediately. This is a full immersion experience. You're not just changing a few thoughts, you're creating a new neural architecture. You're building a new neural network that will support your new reality. So there's more that I had written about, like backing that up and everything, but it's kind of, I don't want to get in the weeds with this, because I think that you kind of understand that you do have to reinforce it. And I really believe that I just think everything in our timeline right now is accelerating. Like, I think, I don't know if anybody feels that, but things are happening quicker than they've ever happened in my life. Like even progress, even with my clients, like people are changing quicker. They're more devoted to doing the work. They're more like, it's just a different day. And I'm excited about that, because I think whatever's coming, whatever it's going to look like, it's exciting and it's very different. And we get to participate in that. So, but we want to be involved. And the only way we're going to do it is to not be sitting on the sidelines, just watching or hoping or listening to other people do it, right? We're going to have to actively participate ourselves. So I love things, especially when it's like 3 days. I mean, who can't do 3 days? Remember, I was asking you to meditate last time I was here. It was like 3 minutes a day, like hopefully we're at least doing 3 minutes a day, right? But now for 3 days, if we are diligent, imagine if you could transform a limiting belief, or many, actually, it sounds like many, in just 3 days. We need to do this, right? I wish that I was here telling you I've done this and it works, but I know that it will, because I've done it with other things. And I really think this is an accelerated process that now I'm gung-ho. Like I needed personally to write it out like this in order for me to be able to apply it. So in doing that, I'm hoping that giving it to you, you'll also have more to go on and be willing to just apply it. Just do it. So that's what I got.
That's Margie is so good. I think I'm going to have to listen to it all once over again. But here's what I wrote. This is the gift you give yourself.
Exactly. Like
You know,
forgiveness.
like forgiveness, yeah. And I actually have used this 72-hour principle because of having studied the neural pathways. It works. It works. It works if you work it. And I found there's so many things in life that you get gung-ho about, or I can do that, or gonna move forward with this, and you find yourself getting sort of lost, or like you say, in the weeds of it. But here's two very, very practical. I like practical.
Me too.
I like practical, and I like simple, like that, really and truly, because I don't think that we've that God within us is so complicated that we have to go and get a PhD in 72
Moral
hour
science.
training. No, just do it. And the other thing is, as um, because I'm so into dealing with me. I think I am worth it to to not fix, but to grow, to deal with stuff. I'm worth it. And when I see things like this that isn't going to cost me anything, I don't have to go, take a course somewhere exotic, although right now that might be fun. Um, but you just do what you know you can, and then watch yourself change. But it is the Nike principle. It is the just do it, and just start somewhere. Um, when you said there's a okay, well, let's take a bite out of this part, and then I want to come back to what you said, that how things are changing so quickly, and maybe go into that. But I'm gonna Margie, I'm gonna put you and me into the gallery so we're all together in the room, because that's what I wish we were, all together in the room. This is the best we can do. Uh, and we will just open it up. Does anybody have anything to add? Have you done any of it? Is there anything specific you can share? Do you have any questions? How about that? Gina?
Thanks, Margie. Wow, that's great. I want counseling from you. Um, I was just thinking about it all as you were talking, and what kind of dawned on me was when you said when you go through the day, keep a little notebook and write down the negative self-talk about the things that might be contraindicated into what you're trying to do in that 3-day thing. And I thought, oh, sometimes in that process, it might be a good idea as well to see where you feel that negativity in your body. Um, and it brings it not just to our brain, because we want our body and our cells in our body, right, to be responding to the new declarations and to the new reality. And I've found that certain things like that lodge themselves in the body. Just like you said, they've been there forever, and they're subconsciously there and substantiated in you, in your thought process. Yeah. Where might that be, if you notice, if it is true? Where are you feeling that in your body? So I just thought that might be helpful as well. So I've found that to be something that I've noticed in such a process. And somehow those things are related.
Very
That
much so.
thought.
And Joe Dispenza does talk a lot about that. Like your self-talk is not just your ideas and your thinking, it's definitely your body. Like your body responds by creating an internal environment of strength and resilience.
Yeah.
when you're telling it the proper things. When not, it doesn't have that. So you're not just changing your mind, you're changing your entire biological system. So I think that's good that you brought that up, because energy does get stuck, and it's stuck with thoughts, right? Thoughts are what keep that energy there. So if it may not be the only thing, but it might have gotten there by those thoughts, right?
Yeah.
So the more that we can focus on that too, we can heal. There's all these things that are, but what I love about Joe Dispenza is that he's an example of somebody who would have been crippled,
Yeah.
right? Had he not gotten an understanding of how important his thinking was, right? It all comes down to thinking. So it is a biological thing, right? He said on this thing, every internal dialogue is creating biological change.
Right.
When you start this new pattern of self-talk, your body's going to it's going to fight you. You are going to feel uncomfortable, right?
Yep.
Especially like day 2. That's like an addict trying to stop drinking, right? Day 2 is going to be hard because your body's going to be like, wait. I need stress. I need cortisol. I need, right? And you're trying to get it into a place where it's like, no, you're fine. Right. So that's one of the reasons why I think the 72 hours or whatever you were saying, Helen, like, that's why it's so important, is because you have to go past what was normal, what was comfortable, it's like you're up against it and you have to be able to walk through it. And I think that's really important, because I think a lot of us have sicknesses in our body because we've allowed these thoughts to just continue day after day, year after year, right? And it's just built up this reserve of illness in us. And as we process these things through, we could be freed of so many things. But the resistance is that was a part I forgot that I needed to kind of talk about, is that you are going to have resistance. Your body's going to say, wait a minute, what are you doing? Don't do this to me. I need that. I need that stress. I need that cortisol. I need that feeling of I'm terrible, whatever.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that, Gina. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
True. Thanks, Gina. Susan.
Yep. Margie, I'm of course, taking your advice and writing down, but could we just have a little, like, 1 or 2 sentence recap
Sure.
of step 1, step 2, step 3?
Yes. Step 1 is first thing in the morning, right? So you don't turn on your phone,
Right.
look at anything else. You're going to capture your thoughts first thing. And what you're going to say to yourself with your, I would always put my hand on my chest, because for some reason that just always makes everything calmer. Today is the day I break free from my past. That's the first statement. And the second is, today my new life begins, and every cell in my body is awakening to a new possibility. So, I can't think of the gentleman's name, but an older preacher used to have these types of declarations. Neville Goddard used to do a lot of these, but I think this is a good program, because it's not just say it every day and don't see results. Expect results in 3 days, right? And then the second one is the afternoon reinforcement. This is between 2 and 4 p.m.
Yep.
All right. Your brain goes through another receptive period, and it's your second window of opportunity. So you take 5 minutes to reconnect with your morning declarations, and then you have to move, right? You have to, with intention, move your arms, jump up and down, say it with conviction, talk to yourself, tell yourself, this is what is going to happen. And that your body needs to feel these words. Remember, you're not just changing your thoughts, you're changing your entire state of being.
Right.
And then throughout the day, that's when you capture any negative self-talk. That's when you would write it down, Gina, but you would also write down the opposite truth that you're replacing it with. Like, I don't give up anything without getting the better thing. That's part of my being now. Like, if I'm giving something up, I'm getting something better, right? And then the third thing is the evening protocol. And this is where the magic of consolidation happens. That's between 7 and 9 p.m. Now, sometimes, I work till 9 sometimes, so I'm gonna have to do it right at 9. Your brain naturally begins to process the day's experiences. So you review and reinforce. Sit quietly for 15 minutes. Place your hand on your heart again. Review your day's victories, no matter how small. Speak to yourself with gratitude and anticipation. Tell yourself, today I created new neural pathways. Today I stepped closer to my new reality. Tomorrow will bring even greater transformation. And then feel the truth of the words. Let the emotion build. And this emotional state is crucial for neural consolidation. As we've learned and we've talked about many times, the heart-brain coherence, it's about that emotional connection, right? Like if you're going to self-regulate yourself, it's because you've practiced emoting, like you've a good feeling. You know how to bring up gratitude. You know how to have a memory that sparks a feeling. And that's part of this, right? So we've talked about this many times here, right? So that's part of that, taking a few minutes, a few seconds to breathe, slow inhale for 5 or 4, exhale for 5 or 4, with your hand on your chest, see the breath coming in and out of your heart, and then think of something that makes you feel good, a memory, something you're grateful for. So that's all that's the heart-brain coherence techniques that give you practice in being able to just have a good feeling, right? So that's just another thing that we do on a regular basis now, I would hope. And then remember, you're constantly aware of your emotional state, and you're doing state management. So you're practicing being in control, not allowing your brain to take you down a place you don't want to go. You're going to practice positive self-talk.
Right. Right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I was thinking too, it can, if there are people that listen, right, we get tons of people listen after it's posted. So it isn't just, this lesson just isn't for us four and no more here. I really want to encourage people to think about taking 72 hours. 72 hours is like nothing in the whole scheme of things. We're not taking a long course. Nobody's asking you to read a book. Nobody's asking, for just take one thing. What if that one thing you know about yourself is that you think negative? Somebody will say, let's go on a picnic. Oh yes, but it's so cold outside.
Oh, no.
There you go. No, but just take that one thing that you know about yourself, that you bring negative energy to yourself, to your own life. So you're going to say to yourself, for 72 hours, my self-talk is going to be completely positive. And you can't work to the reverse of an idea. Your brain doesn't function that way. So you don't say to yourself, I am not going to do this. You tell yourself what you are going to do. I am going to, I am going to encourage positive thoughts, positive thinking. And so anything that doesn't match positive thinking, you're going to deal with, you're going to deal with, and don't worry about a whole bunch of other stuff. Try that for 72 hours if this is you, or if it's a habit, like, or whatever. But allow yourself to give yourself that gift and realize that you're not asking the world of yourself. You're just going to, and nobody has to know. There's no passing or failing here. Nobody but you knows where you're at with it. So does that sound okay, Margie?
Yeah, but I think it's important too to kind of make an effort to meet those time frames. Like whether you put I think both. Like I think we should definitely put a moratorium on negative self-talk, but then also make note of those things. Like, don't turn your phone on until you have spoken kindly to yourself and said the statements. Let's
Right.
give that a shot. And then between 2 and 4, find a couple minutes to speak it with conviction and do that. And then before you go to bed, think about it again, and then watch for the signs that your transformation is actually happening, right? Expect it. Expect the transformation.
And you know what? Not only that, like you said, you're going to see it. It's like the step 3 of the first part. You're going to notice it more and more and more. And it's just about yourself. It's not even, it's not a big judgment thing. It's that you just are aware and you're noticing. And I like those. Didn't know about those 3 time zones, but sounds good. I think it's worth trying. Kathy.
Thanks, Margie. That was so good. And Helen, thanks for challenging us to go for it. I really appreciate that. I mean, you're both doing that. So, one thing you had said, you'd quoted David Bear that kind of caught my attention, and I'd love for some examples where you talked about your self-esteem has to stop being outsourced. What are some of those places that we outsource our self-esteem? Can you just give some examples?
Well, I think about let me just think of an example in my own life. Like I am a sanguine. I don't know if you're familiar with the temperaments, but their MO is love, affection, and approval, right? So when I was younger, my self-esteem was often outsourced. Like, if you told me you liked me, I felt good. If you didn't like me, I didn't feel so good, right? Like, something's wrong. I need to make you like me, right? Like, you're going to like me, or there's something wrong with me, right? So that's like outsourcing my self-esteem. It's even like when you come up against conflict in a relationship or in a marriage or in a friendship, even, instead of internalizing that negativity, you're okay. Like, I'm okay regardless of this conflict that's happening. And I don't like this. This is uncomfortable, but it's okay to be uncomfortable. I'm not going to outsource my self-esteem to this event or to these people or to this conflict, because I know inside myself, I am loved. I'm living from love, right? And even that doesn't mean I'm perfect and I never make a mistake. Say you do make a mistake, you hurt somebody. That could be a devastating event for many people, because they don't know how to be okay and still have made a mistake, right? They don't know how to just be like, oh, like, even if they ask for forgiveness, it's like they beat themselves up. It brings out all the negative self-talk. So we have to really practice. It's my job to make sure I'm okay. It's not up to my husband. It's not up to my children. It's not up to anybody outside of my life, or anybody in my life, or my clients, or my work, or my whatever you're involved in. It's not up to that thing to make me feel okay. I have to feel okay because I know I have worth and value. And when we live from there, that's how we're going to actually change the world, right? Like, if you live there and I live there and, Gina lives there and Helen lives there, we are making an impact. Like, it is going to affect so many things, because healthy, authentic people are walking around changing the atmosphere.
Right on.
Right?
Right on. Right on. Good words. Good words. That help, Kathy? That helped me. Thank you.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Thank you, Margie. That's beautiful.
Okay.
Karen and Rick.
Thank you so much, Margie, for sharing this. I love the synchronicity, because 1 hour before this class started, I had sat down and was making a list of my limiting beliefs. So I'm like,
That's
well,
great.
I'm in the flow, and that's
There
pretty
you go.
exciting. Rick had been working on his for 2 days. So we were preparing ourselves for what you brought tonight. And thank you so much. We're stepping into this.
That's
Yeah,
really great.
I just have to say that you've given us, you've expanded what we're stepping into, and it's just so helpful. I'll say this, that on my limiting beliefs, one of the things that I do, and I'm sitting with Papa and listening, and I'm like, oh, I can't think of any limiting beliefs. And, I had to kind of look at that again, and then all of a sudden, I've got a page or two here. At the end of each limiting belief, I said, and I love that. And I'm just sitting with that. Margie, you've given us something to step into more and really evaluate and dig deeper. And I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, something that you said there that I just want to kind of capitalize on is that allowance is so important, right? Like I know, like if we from the church age, like we've learned to resist, right? And in order for us to truly love ourselves, we're going to have to allow those parts of ourselves that we've been thinking were not good or whatever. Like we have to be allowing an acceptance of the ugly, right? The good, the bad, the ugly, the whole of us. Right? We are perfect, but we may not always act it, So we have to allow for those things, because if we don't, then we're dishonoring a part of ourselves. So that was beautiful what you said. I love that. And I just, that's so great that you guys had made lists already of your limiting beliefs. And, like, I just know this is a timely thing, like it's a God thing. And the fact that Helen and I had that conversation this morning, and here I am, I'm like, I had a million things to do, but like Helen needs me and I love her. So, and her voice, it was God, because he was like, we need to talk about this more, because we need to get past whatever's stopping us from becoming. Like I am going to walk on water, and any limiting belief is stopping that from happening. So
Absolutely. And you know what, we can say those things, but we're really serious about it. It's not just it's not
joking
about, no, we're not joking, not
joking
at all. We're going to walk through their midst.
Amen.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Todd, Elizabeth, and Jen, look at, you're all together. I love you guys.
We did it.
You did it. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you so much for that. I love the way you put it. And, I think I'm going to change my middle name to Serendipity, because it just, there's, today I got the news that the group that I've been wanting to move to within my company, that I've been wanting to work with for years, and they've expressed that they would love to bring me over, but we went into a hiring slowdown, so there weren't as many opportunities. Literally, even as people leave the company or retire, we're not replacing people. We're doing more with less. That's what a lot of companies are doing, and we do it well at my company, but we also work very hard at my company. Bottom line is, this is where even my last boss, who knew me quite well, he said, you light up when you talk about this group. You light up when you talk about what they do. You've gone beyond what we need to do to learn the industry so that we can better support them. Long story short, I work with them on a regular basis as a partner in one part of the company. And I'm being a little bit cryptic on purpose, in case this goes on a public site. But they posted a temporary position. So this is where you go and you do a temporary, for 6 months up to a year, you work for a different group, you do a different job. It's kind of like you learn it, you try it, you get some experience, you're better set up to interview for it if they ever do get a position. It also gives them a chance to prove that they needed somebody to do that. Well, they proposed about 6 months ago, what if we set up a rotation, is what it's called, for you? And at that time, I had a boss that had just gone out on a special project. My peer had taken my boss's role as his backfill. And I said, and this was true. I saw myself, I said, this isn't the right time. I would be leaving them in a lurch. that was not the right answer, right? That was, I need to be loyal to the group that I'm in. I need to help them through this time. There's too much change going on. Well, fast forward a little bit, and they kept talking. And then when they asked me a couple months ago, would you consider it? Well, they posted the position. You have to interview for it. It's a big company. They have to go through all the things. And last week, I got 4 interviews popped on to my calendar. And I'm like, oh, good Lord, I don't even have a day to prepare for this. But I did. I took the time. And what I actually did is we use the Korn Ferry competency architecture, which is pretty well known in corporate strengths and areas of opportunity. And trying to keep this concise, which is one of my areas of opportunity, being more concise, is we speak a common language across this whole huge company. And this is what I'm good at. This is what I'm known for. These are some of the areas where I'm continuing to work on improving. So I do that in a corporate environment really easily. The problem is that corporations often breeze through everything you do well and focus on, okay, now what are we going to do to make you better at this? Mm-hmm. What can we do? What can you do? What are you going to do to work on this area of improvement or opportunity? What that actually does is it makes you focus on the things that are not your strength. Maybe they're not my natural gifting from God. I'm honestly probably never going to dunk a basketball, but if that were something in my job role, they'd go, okay, we'd like you to work on dunking a 12-foot basket. I'm 5'9", and I've got pretty good ups for someone with my background, but I'm not going to dunk on a 10-foot basket, much less a 12. But in our company, they set the bar at 12, so you try harder. And that's what they focus on. And it actually can limit you because that's what they talk about in talent planning, et cetera. So I went into the interviews prepared to address, here are the areas where I've gotten feedback. I am continuing to work, but here are my strengths. I had such a beautiful interview preparation ready. And I sat down and the first person said, well, I was told that I was supposed to welcome you to the team. And I'll tell you why it's serendipitous. This afternoon, the person who's actually created the position just told me, he said, yeah, we're bringing you over. He said, if this timing doesn't work for you, we'll make it work. And he goes, our intent is that we can use this time to help prove that you belong over here and that we can get the head count. So that's the oversharing part that maybe doesn't go on the public. But I got to tell you, I was excited, but I think I was the last person in the whole circle of the interviews and everything to actually believe that it was already mine. And I came in to tell Elizabeth, and she was underwhelmed, is the best way I can put it, because she already knew. And I'm like, daggone it, I wanted a celebration. I wanted affirmation. Congratulations, this is awesome, blah, blah, blah. But this is why it's so serendipitous. The first voice in my head was, uh-oh, now you've got to live up to what their expectations are. Can you do that? Are you ready for that big a change at this stage in your career? And those voices started to come in. You've got a great support staff. You know your job inside and out. That's why you're so good at it today. That's why they see the value that they have. But you're going to be without your safety net. You're going to be without, you know what? That's where I thrive. I thrive in learning the new. I thrive in getting so curious about what somebody else does that I get better at what I'm doing so that I can ask them better questions to support what I need at my level of the company. So I lived it a little bit today because I caught the self-talk, to be honest with you. Good. I shared it with Elizabeth. I said, man, there's doubt trying to creep in. There's a little bit of discomfort, and I'm sure it might wake me up a night or two before I start this new role in January. But tonight was so helpful just in what you said, because I've been very vulnerable in here before. There are things that I still hold my 23-year-old self in the corner for. Not nearly as much as I used to, but something of late has come up that I remember back about 20 years ago. And it's something that I just inside felt horrible about, still feel horrible about. You really did that. That's going to go on my list. That's a limiter right there is, hey, you're not that person and you haven't been for years. Why do you let that back in? But you gave me the practical, tactical, applicable, I can do this.
Yeah.
And so the timing is just perfect. And I just wanted to say, one, it was perfect because I got to walk through it on my own a little bit today before we even sat down. But to be ready to be who I know I am,
Right.
which is there's a reason that I'm going over there. And I don't know the full plan, but I know I'm up for it.
Right on. Right on.
Awesome.
Wow, and for congratulations. I knew nothing about it. I would do the champagne and caviar and everything for you, Todd, just so you know. Maybe we'll do that anyway, Ed. We'll think about you. Oh, that's so great. No, we're really happy, and thank you for sharing. You know, it's I wonder how old we have to get or experienced we have to get before there's just no limiting belief, right? You just
Well, let's believe that after 3 days of doing this, we'll have created the new neural pathways. And we have to be saying that, right? Like there will
Absolutely.
not be any limiting beliefs. We will not outsource our self-esteem.
right.
We will, this is permanent change we're after, transformation. This
That's-
isn't just a thing we're doing. This is transformation. It
That's-
will happen. And we need to speak like that.
Amen. Amen. Wow, I'm with you. Carolyn, nice to see you. There you go.
Actually, I think Susan was before me.
Caroline is first, but I just have one quick thing to say. Margie, Helen may have needed you, but we all want you.
Aw. Thank you.
I was just going to say in connection with that I bought a book when I was just over there in the States in a second-hand shop, and it was called Quantum Touch. And it had this idea in it, and I've been trying it ever since. It's absolutely amazing for me, but not everything works for everyone. And so you basically, it's for every time you feel a limiting thing in you, a limiting belief, or a restriction about a thing, a blockage that's getting between you and what you desire. Or if you suddenly feel angry or jealous or something negative. So anything negative that comes to you in that moment. And so they suggested that you draw all the energy out from your feet up to your head, through your arms, like visualize it, feel it all as you take a breath. So you breathe in and you're drawing in all the energy out of your whole body into one place. And then
The
you
negative energy, wait, just clarify. So you're drawing up the negative energy that you're feeling?
well, they just said energy. So it's God energy.
The what?
But I'll tell you what I do, and then I don't know. I don't think about it whether it's negative or positive. I just shut my eyes and go, draw it all up out of every part of my body, probably into my mouth, head, every arms, fingertips into my mouth, and then let it out with another long breath. But I let it out. Oh, I forgot to say, first, before all that, you feel where the heck that jolly thing is hitting you in the chest. So it might, sometimes it hits you on your shoulder, or like it's this restriction or negativity is a thing inside you. So it might be on your right side of your chest, your left side of your chest, down in your stomach. Could be anywhere. So that's the first thing you do, is you locate it. Then the second thing you do is do this drawing every bit of breath up. And then you, as you let your breath out, you direct all that energy onto that spot. Do you get that? Am I explaining it right?
I think it's kind of like what Gina was talking about, right? Like,
Yeah,
so you're focusing
your
on
brain.
the body part, and and so you're locating it, and then you're drawing all of it up, and then you're going to let it out your head.
No. So you locate it, then you draw it all up out of your whole body. So there's basically no energy left in your body. I don't know what you're drawing up, whether it's good or bad. I have no idea.
Okay.
But I'm just drawing the whole lot up. And then when it comes up here and I've got it all, I let it back out and I direct the whole bang lot into that spot, wherever the negativity is. And do you know what? Once I had to do it 3 times, but it's nearly always gone, especially by the second time. I kid you not, it works. For me, might not work for you. So that was like the best idea. It saved me because Helen, you said before you like it to be simple and what? Something else.
Practical.
Practical and simple. And that's me. And I hear all this stuff and I go, oh, it's just going to take me hours and I have to dedicate my life to that. And there's 20 things to dedicate at the moment. So I just do that. And the restriction is gone. I'm kidding, not joking. But please all try it.
And the book is called Quantum Touch.
Yeah, what I'll do is when I've stopped speaking, I'll go and get it.
Okay.
And then I'll bring it back and hold it up.
Sounds good.
Okay. Thank you. And Regina, you reminded me of it because I do that all the time now. Most days I'll do it. And do you know what? I've become so calm. I can't believe it. Like people are saying, oh, you're so calm in the middle of everything. And I'm going, yeah, because all I do is, I see it as God's energy, to be honest. I draw it all up, see this white beautifulness come, and it's almost like it gathers up all of God. And then I blow it all onto that spot and it's gone. So
you know, I'm actually, I don't know that I understand it completely. I am going to give it more thought. What I love about it is the results. Seriously.
Yeah, it's about the first thing that's ever worked.
Yeah, and
instantly.
Well, I have some of the breathing techniques where you breathe in, out, breathe out, and then the forceful one changes kapoom. Like
it's probably
that kind of thing feels like energy, but it works. It works.
Yeah, you hit that forceful bit onto the bit that you've located. You hit it with this energy, boom, and it's gone.
Nice. Yay. Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome.
How it goes for all of you.
So good. That's so good. You like simple and practical. Very good.
Very, very simple. You can teach a child.
And hey, while we're thinking about that, all of what we're learning, wouldn't it be great if the children, if that's who needs
wouldn't have to undo.
They don't have to figure anything out. They can just, oh my golly. Susan, I'm not forgetting you because you were next and then Gina.
I just wanted to speak to that you just said, what about the children? My 15-year-old granddaughter, she's with me a lot and she just is very in tune, but she doesn't recognize it in herself, but she is. And tonight, just before we sat down to dinner, she and I were making dinner and setting the table. And she said to me, Mimi, I just have to really get rid of my anxiety. Well, she doesn't really have a lot of anxiety. I don't see it in her, but she's beginning to discern that she feels nervous sometimes and upset. So she said, I have to learn that meditation stuff. And I said, do you want to sit with me? I said, I can teach you. And she said, could you really teach me how to do that? She said, I thought you just talked to God and he just did it. And I said, well, he did do it, but he didn't just do it like that. I said, there were lessons. And she says, that's cool. So she was already starting to, I had tried to talk to her about Joe Dispenza and maybe, she could do a little meditation. And she wasn't that interested. But tonight, that seed, I think, started to grow just a little bit. And I don't think there's any reason why teenagers, mid to lower upper teenagers, could grasp a lot of this information. I mean, they're so over-informed anyway, so I'm sure they have a lot of this in there.
My friend Nikki Beaumont, who's the head nurse, I think she's called a matron. I don't know at Winchester Cathedral Boys School. She teaches the choristers, which is ages 6 to 8, or they're just really young. She teaches them heart-brain coherence, and has got them to a place that is so natural for them that that's a natural part of their life in school. When she's not there in the classroom, they will do it on their own. How about that?
That's awesome. That's awesome.
This is, this needs to be,
mainstreamed. We need to mainstream it.
Absolutely. 100%.
Thank you.
100%. Gina girl.
I was just going to comment on what Caroline was talking about. And I don't think it's negative energy that you bring up. I think it's the energy of your I amness, of who you really are. Pull all that great and awesome energy of who you really are and put it to the spot that is in the body, or even the thought that is the negative self-talk, or even the anxious thing that Todd was talking about. Oh, now this doubt comes in. Take your great, awesome I am energy, pull it up, gather it, and put it onto the thought of doubt, put it onto the pain in the area, and overcome it with who you actually really are. It sounds like that's the process. I don't specifically know that, but if I was to guess, I think that's what Caroline was talking about.
Right.
And that makes sense.
That is the correct interpretation.
Okay.
I know that my gift isn't being a teacher. So there you go. You've just taken all that and you've said it. She's right.
Yeah. That sounded pretty cool. I like that.
But I had it. She just puts it there. I biff it so hard that it's but well, it's all love, so I can hit someone with love. I hit the negativity.
Yeah.
And Carolyn put the title of the book in the chat. It's the Quantum Touch book by Richard Gordon.
Okay. Gordon. All right. Claudia, nice to see you.
We can't hear you.
Hi.
Hi.
Nice to see you. I said I've been off the screen, and because I usually drive home and you have your Zoom, so nice to see you all.
Nice to see you.
I just wanted to add to that. I took that course, Quantum Touch. So just to clarify what Carolyn was saying. Yeah, so Gina was right. So it is the chi, it's the life force energy that we breathe in, and you take it like off from your feet, around your head kind of, and then down to your arms. Like first, like there's few breaths like that, kind of to charge yourself up, like with that energy. Sometimes it takes few breaths, sometimes it takes few minutes. And then after that, you change like where that energy is going. So it can go on your body, kind of wherever you want to put it, or you can send it somewhere. He has a great teaching. So it's Richard Gordon, that you can put consciousness into things like objects too. And then you can use that also to put the consciousness and touch with those things, people, and bring healing to. I know it's a little bit off up there, but it really works. And you can also, if you're thinking of somebody who is distant, you can kind of in your mind create like a little miniature figure of that person. So for example, if I was praying now for Margie, that there was something bothering her, so I would imagine Margie to be like a tiny mini figure and put her like once I have that energy gathered, put her between my hands and just send that energy to her. And it doesn't need to be sent where it's going. The energy knows where it needs to go, and that would just go where it needs to go. So that's why it's quantum, because it can go, we're inseparable, the particles, and it really works. I tried it out too. It's amazing. There's few little videos also you can watch on YouTube about quantum touch. So he explains it briefly.
Okay.
Yeah. And he also redefines the few different theories that we had about, how do you call that now? I just can't remember. Like when you imagine things, like he just talk. Yeah, that's right. The intention, and like there are a few other things that he teaches. They're like, it just doesn't come to my mind, but they're like really, really good. Yeah.
That's great.
Wow.
Oh
Wow.
my goodness. I love the image of the little mini Margie.
Yeah.
Could you all
I
just do
love
that
it.
for
That
me?
is
Put me in a
great.
little mini Margie and hold me and
I'm gonna
send
have,
me love.
and here we are. Here we are. Look at us. We're little mini people.
Little
All of
mini
us.
us.
Yeah.
Little mini squares. I just love it.
He even
I'm
said that
using
he
that.
puts few
I'm gonna
people
use
into
that.
that minifigure. So if he said like there's a full congregation of people, he kind of joins them into one figure,
Yeah.
and all of them are there, like in your imagination, and then just send the energy there, and everybody receives the healing wherever they need to go. So I think that's our all redefined prayer we used to do.
That's awesome. I love it.
I love that.
So good. That's so good. Wow.
Wow.
I don't see another hand. Okay.
Hello.
You guys are terrific. Absolutely terrific. I'm sorry. I'm into mini right now.
Mini me.
Okay. Yeah, Margie was saying about how many people are experiencing the sense of shifting, of a shift. You know, it seems like we've been in these shiftings for a very long time, but I don't think we've been in it to the capacity that we are in it now. And it's almost it's almost anybody slash everybody you talk to is feeling something and not really having understanding to it. And today I listened to a Greg Braden. It was just a short, but well, it wasn't. It was about 50 minutes actually. But there's a part in it that really I had to write it out, and I want to share it with you because it gives a little more structure to what it is that we're talking about right now. I'm putting glasses on because I'm in the dark here. All right. The name of the thing I was watching is The Focus Secret and How to Harness It. I have no idea why that's the name of it, but he said, for whatever reason, if we can find a way to redefine what that leaving means to us, we have that we have a whole new life in front of us, and this is what the ancients had learned to do. And he's talking about the things shifting and leaving old things behind and coming into the new. He said, you and I are living at the end of a 5,125 year long cycle. That's the end of a 2,625 year cycle that happens to be happening at the same time our planet is crossing over the galactic border. Everything that we have ever known and loved and cherished is changing. We're the generation that is bridging all that there has ever been with what is yet to be. We are learning to reconcile this in our lives, whether we're talking about a planet or whether we're talking about our daily careers, our daily life, the same thing. That's why this time is so precious, so special, And I think it even goes deeper than I suspect. It even goes deeper. And this is a guess, as they don't say this, but you've all heard, and I have as well, that we come from a realm that we're not from around here. If you want to see an alien, look at the person next to you. Look at the screen. Nobody's from here. We're here for a while. We're loving each other. We're going to share some time together, but we come from a realm where we don't have these bodies, and we are in spirit, in family, linked as a unity, as oneness. And I suspect that the original hurt that we feel from leaving that togetherness and coming into the isolation and loneliness in the separation of a single human body is probably the hurt that we're already dealing with. We may not talk about it at the water cooler on Monday after the football game, but I think it's probably what's happening. For so long for that connection that we try to recreate the family in this world with partners and friends, siblings and pets and places and things to help us feel those things that we long to experience. Again, you think that's possible. He said that's the first 100 years. The first 100 years are the hardest. I'm on a 200-year plan. Who's going to be on that 200-year plan? Who do I get to see here? Who am I going to see in 200 years from now? And should we make a date? This whole message that he was giving was attached. I just pulled out the dates because they're so specific. And he said, these are the dates. And by the way, he's written a new book. It'll be out in January. I think you can. I know you can because I've already pre-ordered it through Amazon. But he's going to be talking about all this and what is happening. And in essence, he's saying this shift is happening. It is an earthly shift. We're feeling it because we're in synchronicity with the earth. We're at that 0.1, especially those who understand heart brain coherence. And we are one with what is happening. Some of us are more understanding of it and sense it more than others. And one of the reasons for that is part of what Margie brought to us tonight. And that is we are determined and willing to enter into the understanding of change and willing to change ourselves, whatever it takes for us to do, so that we can go on into the next. And he said, as these things come, these year-long cycles that have science behind it, we'll have to get his book. But these things are happening as we go into the next. It won't be for a long time, because we'll be bringing in what we are learning and what we know is happening from how we're training ourselves to be in the I am, and that becoming our reality. So when we have an opportunity to look at ourselves with limiting belief and do the shift to opposite truth in it, and we see those examples, I just want to just encourage you, do it. Make these your personal quests. Take a bite-sized pieces. Start somewhere, because there is a division coming. We're sensing it, we're feeling it, and we're being placed into a place where we won't recognize it from where we are now, and we'll only recognize it when we're in it. I don't know if that's made sense, but that's my kick at the can on that. Gina.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I've been thinking about we are in a time of opportunity,
Yes.
and we can take it or we don't have to.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what we've been talking about, and that's what Margie was explaining, how tools to improve who we are and elevate our frequency.
Yeah.
So that we can see and that we are wise and that we understand and that we know and that we can recognize all of this stuff, right? Yeah. That Helen was talking about. And the world, which we're not a part of, we're in it, we're not of it, is cracking. The people that run it, whatever we're calling them.
We're talking about world system. We're certainly part of your.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. World system. That dream that we've been held under for so long is cracking.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have this beautiful opportunity then to dream.
Yeah.
And as Margie said, if we all do this and we're all, I'm doing this, you're doing this, how much will this take? And I keep thinking, oh, there it is. Yeah. 144,000 dreamers. That's all it's going to take is to change the world. It's not very many. You know what I'm saying? We have this idea of the 144,000 are going to be blah, blah, blah. I think they're the dreamers. I think they're the ones that come into the collective and we dream the new dream. Therein lies the separation that Helen was talking about. The different consciousness that is arising. And I think that when we step outside of the reality that we're in by doing all the stuff that Margie just told us and all the stuff that we're learning, then that's our part of our way of creating this new earth. Yeah. That we're called to, that we get the opportunity and the privilege to live in this time. Wow.
That's right.
And I don't want to miss that opportunity. I want to know it. I want to be aware of it. I want to be awakened to it. I want to be part of that. And I think that's our quest. And it's so exciting. So yeah. And the dreaming, I think, is so important because it is the thoughts that are higher in our higher selves, in our higher way, in our higher realm. And Margie just showed us how to do it.
I know.
Another tool of how to do that.
And exactly in such in such simple and practical ways. This is such a timely message. Because
and guess what? We're good at it and we don't even know.
Well, and we're getting better.
We're built for it, right? This is why we're here for such a time as this. Wow, like it blows me away. Aren't we smart?
And we're unlimited. So if there's anything limiting, deal with it. Just deal.
Yeah, beautiful.
Helen, is the name of the book Pure Human? Is that the new book that he's written?
I don't know.
Okay, because I was just looking up because someone was asking. So I did find was the one called Pure Human. So
it's not out yet.
Out in January.
Yeah.
It's not available.
You can pre-order. It says you can pre-order it. Is that the one, Gina? Yeah.
That must be it then.
Yep. Yeah. I'm going to check on that right now.
Perfect. Susan.
Gina, I want to thank you for that kind of reminder that even our dreams are creative. And usually I just take a quick broad look at what's going on in the world at some point during the day, but not at the very beginning and not at the very end. And I'm fascinated with the way it's crumbling. The governmental structures, the economics, it's just crumbling. And I see that as making space for what we are all creating with our dreams. And that's where we're sort of tasked, we're sort of commissioned, that we have the ability and the opportunity to create what's going to fill that void. So if we come from the void and we have been in the field and we have our creative energy running, we're just so equipped to send into the void, into the structures that have crumbled, into that space and place, what's going to really restore all things. The restoration of what was under all of that man-made stuff, all of the weakness of man, to be able to restore that with the strength of God.
Right.
I think it's just I think it's just awesome. And I hear so many people talking about it with fear. You know, they're just so afraid, oh, what's going to happen now? What's going to happen now? I'm like, well, you get to pick. For heaven's sakes, what do you want to happen now? You won't have this opportunity again, probably. So that's just my 2 cents. But thank you, Gina. That is such a good reminder.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the book is called Pure Human, The Hidden Truth of Our Divinity, Power, and Destiny by Greg Braden. And
Yeah.
I don't know if you can, oh, well, probably you can't. I don't know. Can you see that?
We've got that title. Awesome. Thank you.
Pure Human. Can I say something? At the end of what I had written, I just want to read what I took from the Joe Dispenza thing. It says, your new self-talk, even when you don't feel good, that's what creates lasting change. That's what builds permanent new neural pathways. That's what transforms your biology forever. When you transform your self-talk, you're not changing yourself, you're changing the entire field of possibilities around you. This isn't just personal development, it's quantum transformation that affects every aspect of your life and everyone around you. Watch what happens in your relationships when you speak to yourself differently. You show up differently, people will begin to respond to you in new ways. They'll sense the shift in your energy before you even speak. Your presence alone will begin to influence rooms you walk into. This isn't magic. It's the power of coherent energy affecting your quantum field. So it is, and I just wanted what Susan was saying, like, this does come down to the increase of his government and peace, there will be no end, right? Like, if we are supposed to be governing, like, we need to start looking at ourselves as the governors, right? Like, so yeah, that political thing, like, we are the government, right? So we need to start impacting every area of whatever we can, right? Like Todd's work. You're the governor there. You're governing from a realm that no one else, maybe some do, maybe some don't have it even an access to. But you're bringing it, and you're bringing your coherence within yourself. That's going to transform that whole place. Everywhere we go, we bring transformation. That's what we are. We're a conduit of heaven, right? We're a conduit. We are supposed to be bringing transformation. And we should be very excited about this, you know, like that's even the excitement is part of the quantum coherence. Because if we walk into any place, the kingdom has arrived.
That's
right.
And you know, the thing is, when we learn it ourselves, that's why I love the 72 hours gig here. When we learn that, when we take responsibility and we see the results, they become tangible. They actually, there is a tangible change that takes place. It isn't just because, oh, you've changed your neurons, or your neuron pathways, but yourself, your frequency, and everything is going to respond differently to your own life, not just other people's. And then, and the more you stand in your sovereignty, the more you allow yourself to dream higher, to dream more, to dream bigger, and understand your I amness to the nth degree. And I think that's that's the bottom line of it. It isn't just to go through any step at all. And I don't see this as a step program, but that understanding how securely we can be living from and living in I am that. I am that.
Well, and all of that is experiential, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's more than a theory or a thing we're talking about.
Yeah.
Like Margie said, it's the application of the thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that's our practice.
Yeah.
Wherever we are. And mine doesn't have to look like Todd's, or Caroline's.
No.
Mine's going to be different because I am whoever it is I am. And I am that I am. And so anyway, so that's the beautiful thing. And I just so appreciate all of us, because we have, wow, what a platform we have. Like, it's amazing, really. Because it's life, and it's sharing, and it's community, and it's growing and learning together in this time that is so crucial in our lives, collectively and individually.
Yeah.
And so I'm so grateful. So grateful. And I just want to say one more thing about gratefulness, that I've struggled a little bit with, when Margie, you were talking about, and at nighttime, you're supposed to, go through your declarations in the day and be grateful about the victories that you've had that day or whatever. And I find that sometimes when I'm trying to be grateful about something, I think, but I did that. That was really dumb. Or, I go there sometimes because I think, I didn't quite really.
You were outsourcing your self-esteem.
Yeah, exactly. As I didn't exactly do what I intended it to do, and I didn't exactly respond how I really wanted to, and la la la. And so this is where my gratefulness goes. I'm like, okay, that is like totally not grateful. But because I wanted something greater and I wanted it faster than I could produce it. But anyway, what's helped me in that is, and I just thought I'd throw it out there because, maybe somebody else does the same thing I do, or have done, or did, or used to do. I create a scenario where whatever the thing is I'm hoping for, or the goal, or the vision, or the dream that I wanted manifested, or I don't want to have this whatever the thing is, create the end of it all, from the end of it, scenario, and play that in my mind. And then I go through that scenario where whatever it is I'm praying for, believing for, whatever I have, and how does that feel? How does that end result feel? Oh, okay. Well, then you're grateful. Because it doesn't matter about the stuff you maybe missed the mark on in the day. What matters is I see it from the end. I see the thing completely there. And so I go through that scenario that I've created, where I have the thing and I've mastered the whatever your thing is. And you see it and you know it and you know how that feels. Wow, isn't that great? Isn't that amazing how that feels? And then gratitude is like instant.
That's like Joe Dispenza talks about that a lot. Like if you're gonna, and even David Bayer, like if you're going to create the future that you want, you it is a great thing to do, is to go into that feeling and knowing what it's going to be. Look at the outcome as if it is. Like your body, your emotions don't really know. Your mind doesn't know. Like it doesn't matter if it's happened already or not. So we might as well go for the best outcome, sit in it until we feel it,
Yeah.
and therefore it's created.
Right.
Right?
Like
That's
when
kind
you watch a scary show and something's really scary and you're super scared and your body releases scary hormones, but it's not really happening.
but you're feeling it. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's not, but your brain doesn't know it's happening or not. Your brain thinks it's happening.
Right.
So it releases
Cortisol's
all
being
kinds of
released.
hormones. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So same principle, right?
Yeah. Pleasure.
How does that feel for me to have that thing, the outcome of that thing I'm hoping for?
Yeah.
Right? How does that
Yeah.
feel? Yeah, it feels great. And then I think about the scripture. If you believe, whatever you
As a
believe,
man.
you have.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, then, oh, I get that now. It makes all sense. Can I see it? Can I feel it? If I can, I got it. So anyway, that brings me into gratitude instead of, beating myself up about some dumb thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Another little fun fact that I heard today is that the Sumerian, I think the Aramaic and Hebrew didn't have a word for prayer. There was no such thing as prayer as we know it.
Yeah, that was the man-made thing.
It's man-made. It's a construct of religion.
Or an
And
L-made thing.
all of the ancient all of the ancients used the word communion, communicate. And imagine what our relationship with Father would be if we stopped praying, and everybody knows what I'm saying, and started staying in communion, in oneness with him. What would our lives look like?
Hey, there's a nice goal for what we learned from Margie tonight.
Live in the spirit always, right?
That's, yeah.
Not allowed to pray anymore. We have to be in communion.
Well,
union.
yeah, you see, in my upbringing was if somebody prayed for you or you prayed for somebody else, or in my church it was Anglican, the man in the dress that lit the candles prayed and got the show on the road. And that so that's my understanding and teaching of prayer. And then we got pretty intense when you started being in church and you had to go to prayer meetings and you had intercessory prayer meetings and prayer lines and prayer focus and prayer everything. And I wonder where we'd be today if we lived in communion with God and each other rather than praying for, because then we would be living from exactly what you're saying, from the answer, from the reality of where we're supposed to be living. And yeah, it's not without challenges, not without challenges.
No kidding.
Well,
Wowzers.
how about that, eh? How about that? Margie, this has been a very timely, thank you for rescuing. Excuse me.
My pleasure, actually.
Well,
I just hope that we can all have like we can come back with testimonies of how this transformed us. Like I really, really hope that I'm gonna have that confident expectation, that elpis of this happening, that everybody's gonna be challenged so much, because what is 3 days? Like what Helen said, like we can do anything for 3 days. If we could really put this into practice and we could eliminate our limiting beliefs for real, why would we not? Like, it'd be like going on a what's, I I can't think of the word when you stop eating for a few days.
Fast. Yeah.
Fast.
A fast. So instead of fasting, we're going to fast from limiting beliefs. You know, it is. Let's do a fast for 3 days.
Yeah. And you know, the whole thing is, this is something you can do from the inside out. It's something, it's not, there's no pressure here. There's no right or wrong way to do it. It's you, and I believe very, very strongly that God will lead directly into whatever, and so it's not even a compare and contrast. I have total faith that he will take us through whatever it is. If there's anything limiting, that's going to be nuked, and we're going to come out totally different people at the other end, who actually can say, I am unlimited, and know it from the depths of your being that you are. I am unlimited. Susan.
Hey, I think Jesus got plenty done in 3 days, and I think he's setting us a good example. That's what the 3 days are all about, Margie. Thank you.
Hey, oh, that's good. Yes.
Perfect.
That's
That's awesome.
my internet is unstable. So if I disappear, that's what happened.
Yeah. Okay.
Everybody's leaving. Goodbye, everybody.
Okay. Well, before we go, I just want to say thank you to everybody. Nice to see you, Yolande. You missed the meeting, but it's recorded, and you're very nice to see you. We've missed you, and we love you. Thank you for contributing. Thank you for taking the limiting belief challenge and the 72. Write out things. If you know any testimonies, we'd love to hear them, and I can, of course, you can share them directly with Margie as well. You amazing. The people are so blessed to have you in their corner when they need it. In particular today, I appreciate it so much. Thank you.
We just want to make one last call if anybody has a question or a comment. I just was saying goodbye to whoever was leaving, so we, I wasn't rushing us out. I just thought if I disappeared, you know that my internet went out. It's pouring here.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm.
So you weren't saying, here's your hat, what's your hurry?
Yeah. I wasn't. I didn't mean to sound like that.
It's all good. All right. Well, till next week then.
Yeah.
May the Lord bless you and keep you. Make his face to shine on you. Be gracious to you. May he lift up his countenance upon you and grant you his perfect shalom, his peace. Nothing missing, nothing broken. Love you. Love you.
Bless you all. Love you.
Thank
Love
you.
y'all.
Thank you, Margie.